Look at a dog when you make eye contact with it. Not a quick glance, real slow held eye contact. Watch its face. The eyebrows lift, the head tilts to one side, the ears move forward, and you get this feeling, almost hard to explain, that something in there is actually trying to figure out what you want. That feeling is not your imagination. The question sounds simple. Do animals know when we're trying to talk to them? But the more you look into it, the more surprising the answer gets. Because it turns out the answer isn't just yes. The answer is that some animals are better at reading humans than we ever expected, and one of them might be sleeping on your couch right now. Let's start with something that seems obvious, but is actually one of the most fascinating things in science. Dogs understand pointing. I know that sounds like nothing, but think about what pointing actually is for a second. When you point at something, you're not just moving your finger. You're assuming another mind is watching you. You're expecting that mind to follow your gesture, and you're trusting that the other mind understands you're not pointing at your finger, you're pointing at something over there, something that matters, something you want them to look at. That is not a simple thing. Scientists have a term for it. They call it shared intentionality, the ability to understand that another being has a mind, and to deliberately guide that mind towards something. For a long time, scientists believed only humans could truly do this. Then they tested dogs, and dogs followed the point perfectly. Every time. Even young puppies who had never been trained did it naturally. Then they tested chimpanzees, our closest relatives on Earth, animals that share 98.7% of our DNA, animals that can solve complex puzzles and use tools, and chimpanzees could not follow the point, not because they weren't smart enough, but because they didn't understand why a human would point at something to help them. The idea of one mind guiding another didn't connect for them the way it did for the dog. A dog understood something a chimpanzee didn't. Let that sit for a moment.
Now here's the part that explains everything. Dogs didn't get this ability from nowhere. They got it from us. Over roughly 15,000 years of living beside humans, something in dogs changed at a deep level. The wolves that were less afraid of human camps started hanging around more. They got scraps. They stayed close. And over thousands and thousands of generations, the ones that were best at reading human faces, following human gestures, and understanding human intentions survived better. They were more useful. They were kept around. They were fed. Evolution very slowly built an animal that is specifically wired to pay attention to you. And the proof of this is not just behavioral, it's physical. Dogs have a small muscle above their eyes that wolves do not have. Scientists discovered it only a few years ago. This muscle does exactly one thing. It lifts the inner corner of the eyebrow and creates the expression that humans read as sad, sincere, and emotionally present. You know the look. Every dog owner knows the look. That expression was not an accident. Dogs evolved an entire facial muscle over thousands of years for the sole purpose of making a face that makes humans feel something. Not to run faster, not to hunt better, to communicate with us. That is one of the most extraordinary things I have ever learned about any animal. But let's move away from dogs for a moment, because this gets even more interesting. Elephants understand human pointing too, but there's something specific about elephants that goes even further. When an elephant sees a human standing still and pointing toward food, it follows the gesture. But researchers notice something else. When a human crouches down, makes himself smaller, and moves quietly, the way a predator would move, elephants react with stress and caution. When a human stands tall, moves openly, and faces them directly, elephants stay calm. Elephants are reading human body language in real time and making judgments about our intentions. They're not just noticing that a human is there, they're asking themselves, what does this human want? Is this human a threat or not? And here's what makes it truly remarkable. Elephants in Kenya have been shown to specifically recognize and react to the Maasai people, who have a long history of conflict with elephants, versus other groups who do not. They can tell the difference not just between humans and non-humans, but between groups of humans based on past experience with them. They hold a kind of social memory about us.
They are, in their own way, trying to understand us just as much as we are trying to understand them. Now let's talk about crows, because crows will make you deeply uncomfortable if you think about them too long. Crows recognize individual human faces. If a crow has a bad experience with a specific person, say a researcher who trapped and tagged it, that crow will remember that face and react with alarm calls specifically when that person walks by, not other people, that person. And here's where it gets strange. The crow will teach other crows in the area to react to that same face. Crows that never had any interaction with that researcher will start alarm calling when he walks past because they learned his face from other crows. They're communicating information about specific humans to other crows. They are building a shared, socially transmitted understanding of individual people. A crow is not just noticing you. A crow is filing you away, judging your intentions based on your history, and potentially telling its friends about you. If that doesn't make you think twice before being rude to a crow, nothing will. But here's the deeper thing that all of this is pointing toward. Animals don't just react to us. Many of them actively try to communicate back. And when they do, the signals they use are ones they have learned specifically because they live around humans. Cats almost never meow at other cats. Adult cats in the wild are essentially silent with each other, but domestic cats meow constantly at humans. Researchers believe cats developed this behavior specifically because they learned that humans respond to vocal sounds the way other humans do. They figured out that making noise gets our attention. They adapted their communication style to reach us. Your cat is not doing what cats naturally do. Your cat is doing what works on you specifically. A dog will look back and forth between you and something it wants. The door, its leash, an empty food bowl, repeatedly, making sure you're watching, checking your face to see if you understood. This behavior has a name in animal cognition research. It's called referential communication. The animal is deliberately directing your attention towards something with the intention of being understood. That is not instinct. That is communication. So why does any of this matter? Because for a very long time, humans have drawn a hard line. On one side, us, conscious, communicating, emotionally complex. On the other side, everything else, reactive, instinct-driven, unable to truly understand or connect. That line is not as solid as we thought. Animals that live close to humans develop specific abilities to read us, signal to us, and respond to our intentions. They are not doing this randomly. They are doing this because over time, understanding humans became one of the most important survival skills an animal near us could develop. We are such a dominant presence on this planet that learning to read us, learning to know when we mean well, when we are dangerous, when we are offering something, when we are trying to say something, became genuinely useful for staying alive. We didn't teach them this. They figured it out because that is what intelligent social animals do when they share a world with another intelligent social species. They pay attention, they adapt, they try to understand. Here's the thought I keep coming back to. Every time a dog tilts its head at you, every time a crow watches you from a fence, every time an elephant reads your posture from 50 meters away and decides whether to trust you, something real is happening. Something that took thousands of years to build. A quiet, slow, cross-species attempt at understanding. We have been so focused on asking whether animals can understand us that we almost miss the more important question. Have we been paying enough attention to understand them back? They have been watching us carefully for a very long time, studying our faces, learning our patterns, trying to figure out what we mean and what we want. The least we can do is look back.